This is my review on Superman the movie, also known as Superman. Gone by two titles. A movie called Superman, and it's also, it's legally known as Superman the movie. It's confusing. So, like how the original Batman movie is called Batman by the movie, but it's legally known as full title as Batman the movie. Outside the title of the movie. It's confusing, huh? Yeah. I give this a 5 out of 10. Now, even though I adore I really love Christopher Reeve's performance as Superman, and the score for Superman, I gotta admit, I wish the story was better put together, and to show how good of a Superman he could be. Because I feel like Christopher Reeve is the movie both lives and dies on Christopher Reeve's performance, because he's giving such a very weak and cheesy script that's as much of weak and cheesy as, Joss Whedon's Justice League from 2017, to be honest with you. Actually, it might be worse than that. That's kind of how it is. It's this movie on paper, has every reason to be the most hated comic book movie of all time for DC, considering that Superman doesn't even get into one fight in this movie and uses any of his powers. In fact, this probably is what could have turned Superman into a bit of a punchline. Because all of the Superman, now I know this is Silver Age Superman, but Silver Age Superman is known for known for fighting, even though the fights were very ridiculous and absurd, he still fought. That's what Christopher Reeve Superman is based off of. Personally, I think this show, Lois and Clark, New Adventures, that Superman show that's called Superman called Lois and Clark. I personally think that was a bad representation of the Silver Age Superman than Christopher Reeve had a chance at in the first two Superman movies. For the theatrical cuts, at least. And, Superman the movie is still a very fun, nostalgic movie for me to watch and get into. I can still get into it, and sorry. While you still do like the character Superman and still fall in love with him again, I will say, I wish he learned something in the movie. Instead, it does that thing that Spider-Man One More Day did, where he doesn't learn anything. He just, everything's all happy and dandy, even though the decision that he made is basically absolutely, kind of villainous and selfish. Him reversing time, not to save everyone, but just to save the love of his life, is kind of a villainish and selfish thing to deal with Superman. And Superman's not supposed to be selfish, supposed to be the embodiment of good, and also what everything that superhero should be like. In the comics, that's how he always has been, and not being betrayed. And in past interpretations, that's how he also has been betrayed, basically the embodiment of good, and not selfish at all, even though he could do these things for selfish reasons, and he's supposed to be the idea of what should be, kind, compassionate, selfless, And I felt like the ending kind of butchered his character, even though it was very emotional. I found I did feel for Superman. I kind of felt less for him when he actually went back in time to use his power to reverse time. Just to, let the other missiles go off at this place where, just to save the other missile that won't interfere with the love of his life dying. So yeah, people still died. It's not like he went back in time to save everybody. He went back in time to save one missile from the other missile going off. He went back in time to, like, you know, the missile that he stopped going off in the location he took care of the first time, but the second time he didn't because he went back in time. So the other missile went off in the other location, and he only did it so he could save his booty call of a slut Lois Lane that he only knew for one night and fell in love after first sight. Nice to know he has his priorities in check. Makes you sound like a bit of a dick when you think about it. When you say out loud of the problems about the ending. It's like, wow. You're just like, it kind of basically telling the audience, I feel like Superman cares more about his selfish needs than what's right and what's kind and what's decent. And that's not Superman, I feel. I feel like the ending kind of butchers Superman's character a bit. And same way I feel like the ending to Spider-Man No One More Day, even though I enjoy that comic as much as I enjoy the first Superman movie, kind of butchers Spider-Man's whole everything he stands for. Responsibility, and Superman always stand for truth and justice in the American way. In terms, but it's more of a but it's more of a dream. But he always would also believe that dreams can save us and make us a better person. He said, in the because he doesn't see, he has said multiple times, but he doesn't see what's so funny about truth, justice, in the American way. And I feel like this student doesn't really. For him, it feels more like a saying than something he has to do. But he can easily toss that away if it means to saving his girl Lois and breaking the rules and going back time. See, I feel like this movie glances heavily over the complex of the inner complex that Superman has, like, you know. Like, how much should he, like, save people, and not, even though he can save everyone, his question is how much should he save everybody and do everything. And I feel like this, I'm just going to say this, I know I might upset some certain people that are Christopher Reeve fans, and I am a Christopher Reeve fan, so don't get that wrong, but I think Snyder did a better job highlighting these character traits of Superman and the idea of what Superman struggles with. Like, you know, he can save everyone. Should he save everyone? And it will be the conflict in a conflict with Superman. I feel like Snyder, you know, did a better job doing that with Superman in all three versions of a Superman, in all three times he has prepared up until this point. That Snyder has done. I'm not counting Twists and Teen Justice because that's not a Snyder project. That's actually more of a Whedon project. I'm counting Zack Snyder's Justice League and Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, Theatrical Cut, and Ultimate Edition. I will say the special edition of this movie, Superman the movie, is the special edition is slightly better, but it's mostly because we just got some few action scenes here and there that were edited out of the final project of the theatrical cut. But I follow the action scenes, you know, they're fun and enjoying, but they don't really add a whole lot of depth to his character, and it doesn't really tell you that much. Doesn't show you that much to you know, bump it higher on the quality scale on a quality Superman movie. The special edition and neither the special or theatrical edition could get a 10 out of 10 for me, but it's to me the most 5 out of 10s for me. As in, not bad, this is really fun, but also the kind of, like, I don't know if I want to give this a 10 out of 10 feeling. Is why I give the special edition theatrical cut of Superman the movie a 5 out of 10. And honestly, I kind of what might have been I also kind of found bothered me, and it rubbed me the wrong way, that Superman will save Cass out of a tree, but for a little girl, but will let that same girl get slapped in the face hard by her mother. That's clearly an abusive parent. Just because she told the mother that she saw Superman, but she called him a flying man. She said, and so she assumed that the doll was lying, and then slapped that doll like a bitch. You know, the better way to handle it than slapping a kid, I feel. If you think they're lying, or you think what they're saying is not real, and this is a better way. Slapping a kid is not the best way to handle stuff like that. You probably might want to get them mental help, maybe. Although they probably will need mental help once you slap them really hard in the face. Like that. So, but hey, as long as he saves a cat out of a tree, he's the best Superman, right? But as long as you save a cat out of a tree, but lets child abuse and endangerment happen by the parents and never lecturing the parents about not doing that to the kid, that's all what Superman needs to do, right? Wrong! And I gotta say, I wish this film was better handled than what it came out as, and what it was fun. Right? Not that I don't enjoy the fun product, I do. It's just the special edition theatrical of the final project of Superman the movie. I give a 5 out of 10 because I wish I could have had more clever, more. I felt like I wish they knew more what they were doing, and they were more clever about it. You know, it feels like it just feels like they didn't know what the highly and they really had. It felt like they didn't have really high expectation for this project, so they didn't really give a fuck and didn't really know what they were doing, because they probably never made a Superman movie before. And I will appreciate that Christopher Reeve did bulk up for this movie, because I found out he actually got in shape for this movie, and he was just like a really ridiculously skinny before he played Superman, and he got a good decent amount of muscle for the role of Superman. So I appreciate that for him, and he was a fan of Superman, the comics, before the movie. So I appreciate that also, and that he got to play his hero, you know. So I like that too, but and I'm saying because I really like Chris Reeves as Superman, and I just wish, you know, this plot to serve his Superman better than what it did. But it is what it is, I guess. I still love Superman, even though the plot didn't really serve his Superman really well. Yeah. That's why I give it a 5 out of 10, both the theatrical and special edition of Superman the movie, and this is one of those things. Subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up, and follow my channel and get click on the notification button. There's a bell. After we can click on subscribe, and you know, I'm over explaining myself, I feel a little. I'm gonna stop this video now. Bye.